The King's Avatar, Chapter 1668. All set up. Audio source, wusharworldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1668. All set up. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Red and blue light clashed again and again. Just watching the flashing colors gave the viewers goosebumps. For a moment, the normal gamers didn't know where to look. They simply watched in awe with their jaws wide open. It's here. The experts knew where the key lay. Just when the collision between skills was about to end, all of them grew nervous and put their full attention toward the battle. 5, 4, 3, 2. They had started counting down. The last collision between weapons was about to occur. Next would be the final strike. It had been a stalemate the entire time, but this next strike would end it. She missed her parry, but no one had thought that before the decisive strike, Tangrowth would slip up. Her 100 Dragon Meteor strike had failed to parry the formless Phantom Blade sword slash. Blue light invaded her territory, and blood blossomed into the air. Hit. The second-to-last formless Phantom Blade hit soft mist. 100 Dragon Meteor strike was interrupted. The red light glowing from dancing fire flowing flames dimmed. The final slash, the strongest hit. The sword light gave off its most resplendent light, flying towards soft mist's head. No blood. No knockback. The sword light was still as brilliant as ever. The sword light was still flying. Shock filled the faces of the ones who noticed what had happened. The final slash, the strongest hit, had missed. Yes, the sword light missed. Soft mist had retreated during this short window. She had actually ran away. She had always been fierce and domineering, but suddenly, it was as if someone else were playing. This sort of play had Fang Rui's signature written all over it. But in the next instant, in the next moment, the next second, soft mist straightened back up and charged forward. Du Ming's moon-luring frost was stuck in the end lag from formless Phantom Blade. There was no way for him to resist. How did things turn out like this? The experts were no longer thinking about the ongoing battle. They couldn't understand what had just happened. If you could escape one of formless Phantom Blade's strikes by taking the previous one, then the skill would be too flawed. However, Tangrowth's soft mist had done it, and by taking the second-to-last hit, she dodged the final one. Then, the ending lag from the formless Phantom Blade left the opponent with a huge opening. The stadium screen immediately began showing a replay, starting from when the two skills clashed. Once, twice. The pro players could start to see the reason. Watch Soft Mist's movements. Her parries weren't just to defend, but to guide. Pay attention to the last one. The parry that she missed left an opening exactly where Tangrowth wanted him to attack. Yes, taking the hit helped her get to the right position for the next one. She had been setting it up bit by bit, and Du Ming didn't notice it at all. Not just Du Ming. Did any of us catch it? Silence. From rookies to gods, the ones who caught on the fastest were only able to catch it on the replay. Finally, she used the sort of microcontrol that Fang Rui specializes in to dodge the final strike. After that, counterattack. Yes, counterattack. While the pro players were analyzing this play, Tangrowth had already started swinging her spear. Fang Rui's dirty style had only appeared for an instant, then, it was back to her usual fierceness. Due to being in a stunned state from the skill, moon-luring frost was in an even harder to break combo. Du Ming didn't understand why his formless Phantom Blade's final strike didn't land. He didn't have the time or resources to carefully analyze a replay like the pro players had done. He needed to worry about the present. How could he get moon-luring frost out of soft mist's combo, or find an opportunity to counterattack? But Tangrowth wouldn't give him any opportunities. She quickly reached the end of her combo. The combo had been so short that it felt rather wasteful. Rising dragon soars the sky. Battle magic transformed into a dragon and flew into the air. Moon luring frost was still under soft mist control, and couldn't dodge this attack. However, Du Ming let out a sigh of relief. Rising dragon soars the sky was similar to Formless Phantom Blade. It had a long ending animation, so it couldn't be comboed into anything. As for false combos, that depended on the situation. Moon luring frost was sent flying as one would expect. Du Ming didn't see her setting up any follow-ups. Boom. The rising dragon soars the sky ended, and the battle magic exploded. The glimmering light enshrouded moon luring frost. Soft mist was stuck in the skill's ending animation, but after Du Ming's moon luring frost was hit by the attack, he wouldn't be able to move immediately. The explosive battle magic still rippled with power. Tang Ro's soft mist finished retracting her spear and immediately attacked again. Raise spear, charge. Dragon breaks the ranks. That's it. Du Ming was somewhat surprised. Moon luring frost had already recovered. Because of the distance, dodging this dragon breaks the ranks wouldn't be difficult. Tang Ro's impulsive usage of the skill would give him an opportunity to counterattack. Although Dragon Breaks the Ranks didn't have a notable ending lag, if she missed, it was still quite a big opening. There was no time to think. Du Ming had Moon luring frost dodge the attack. Although it wouldn't be difficult, that was only from a pro player's perspective. For a normal player, Tang Ro's sudden Dragon Breaks the Ranks wouldn't be so easy to react to. Opportunity only came once. Move to the side, counterattack. Du Ming's intentions were clear. After figuring out the timing, he made his move. Move to the side, unsheath sword, and swing, all in one breath. He turned and unsheathed his sword, but he unexpectedly wasn't able to move to the side. He looked to the side. In front of his eyes was a giant wall. A wall that was very, very close to him. As a result, he wasn't able to fully swing his sword. The sword light was blocked by the wall. Du Ming stared blankly. WuxRWorldAudio.com. He had missed the timing. Soft mist had arrived. Dragon breaks the ranks. Her spear, dancing fire flowing flame, struck moon luring frost. Du Ming felt himself getting pushed on both sides. His viewpoint began getting smaller and smaller. A scene suddenly floated into Du Ming's mind. In the previous round, Lu Boyuan's chaotic cloudy mountains had been pinned to the wall by the Dragon Breaks the Ranks and was killed. A hole the size of a person had remained in the wall. In the group arena, damage to the map would remain. Rising Dragon Soars the Sky had sent him into this hole. The exploding battle magic interfered with his sight, and pushed him even deeper. At this moment, Dragon Breaks the Ranks. Moon luring frost was sent even deeper. He was trapped inside the hole. Left, right, retreat, jump. He couldn't. There was only one direction, forward. And forward was soft mist. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1669. The Booze of the Home Stadium. Audio source, WuxRWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1669. The Booze of the Home Stadium. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. After the rising dragon soars the sky sent moon luring frost flying, the audience could already see where he would be blasted. Du Ming, who was in the middle of the battle, was perhaps the last person to realize the situation. However, even though ordinary gamers could see it, they didn't react so quickly. The pros were different. As soon as they saw the direction in which moon luring frost was flying, they were caught off guard for only a moment before quickly realizing that this was intentional. What came next confirmed their hypothesis. A pit that initially didn't seem that deep. Alone, that wasn't enough to limit a character's movements. If Dooming had detected it from the very beginning, if he had chosen to move in a more diagonal direction, he would have had enough time to get out of the pit and dodge the dragon breaks the ranks. But unfortunately, he hadn't paid attention to this detail. He took the opportunity to counterattack by moving horizontally, but then he was imped by that shallow indentation in the mountain wall. With that one obstacle, the opportunity was lost. It was too late to make any other response. The dragon breaks the ranks into rising dragon soars the sky, pushed moon luring frost even further into the wall. Now, it was no longer an obstacle of one moment. Now, Dooming's moon luring frost was stuck in the pit for good. Moved, there was only one direction. Attack, there was also only one direction. And this one direction wasn't even available to every attack. For example, downwind sword slash. Even though it was a straight line forward attack, moon luring frost was stuck firmly into the pit, and didn't have the space to perform the starting motions for this skill. Naturally, the skill couldn't be used. Dooming lost. In this moment, everyone was confident in making such a judgment. No freedom to move, no freedom to use skills, he couldn't even jump. Soft mist blocked the entrance, and dancing fire flowing flame was already stabbing inward. Skills. Were they even need? Even if Tangro controlled soft mist to only use ordinary attacks, Dooming had no way of controlling moon luring frost to dodge. In a situation where he couldn't move, parrying the attacks became imagination. Soft mist's attacks landed with 100% accuracy, which only made Dooming even more at a loss as to what to do. In this situation where attacks were landing upon him non-stop, even if he had hundreds or thousands of skills that could instantly allow him to move outside of the hole, he wouldn't be able to use them. Just like that, he fell. Dooming lost even more helplessly than Mo-Fan had in the fourth battle, where he'd been unable to land a single hit on Joe Zekai's Cloud Piercer. Mo-Fan, at least, had had space to move. He could at least demonstrate attempts, even if they hadn't succeeded in the end. But Dooming? Even his right to attempt was stolen away. He was stuck in this hole, stabbed by soft mist again and again, all the way until he died. It was pathetic to the extreme. Winner, Happy's Tangro. The system dutifully announced the result. The Happy fans were thrilled, jumping and shouting in the stadium. The Samsara fans were dumbstruck. When Joe Zekai had completed his 1v3, they thought that victory was already theirs, that Happy was done for. But now, Happy had actually catching back up to them. Tangro's soft mist still had 73% health left to face Samsara's final player. Under these conditions, the final outcome of this group arena couldn't be predicted. How did this happen? The Samsara fans were still stuck in a daze. When Joe Zekai, with a Cloud Piercer that was almost at half health, accomplished a 1v3 to reach Happy's second-to-last character and player, everyone felt that this was a gap that couldn't be closed. And then, had it ever felt like Happy was catching up? There hadn't been that feeling, it seemed like. Everyone was waiting for the result to be finalized. But then, the situation had suddenly become what it was right now. Suddenly, Samsara's insurmountable lead had shrunk to only this much, 100% against 73%. The audience couldn't restrain themselves. This was the deciding match of the finals, the time in which the team need the most support and encouragement, and yet at this moment, Team Samsara heard the sound of booing. Glory's demonic home stadium. The place where Team Samsara was invincible. Then, last match, Happy had destroyed Samsara's home game win streak. And this match, Happy caused Team Samsara to hear the sound of booing in their own home stadium. Not long before this, the stadium had still been filled with the excitement of winning the championship. The mood had swung from one extreme to the other. It was clear how greatly the fans' spirits had fallen. On the sidelines, Liu Boyuan was sitting on pins and needles. When Du Ming walked out of the competitor booth and felt this atmosphere, he was also somewhat hesitant and frightened. The performance of their first player Sun Xiang had been fine. Zhou Zekai had played flawlessly, and he was the one who had ignited the excitement of winning the championship. But after him, Liu Boyuan, Du Ming, Samsara's decline from prosperity had occurred on their heads. Zhou Zekai had been eliminated by Fang Rui, but in that battle, Cloud Piercer had lost less health than Boundless Sea. But then it was Liu Boyuan, and then Du Ming. Now the two of them had both lost, yet the two of them combined had been unable to kill off a single whole life on Happy's side. The audience was in no mood to reflect upon the process. Just this outcome was intolerable. In such an important match, the rare scene of the home fans booing the home team actually appeared. Samsara's fans were upset because they had held too high hopes for their team. But the pro players, their stance was more neutral, but in comparison, they felt that it was more interesting for the Black Horse Happy to overthrow the two-time champions Samsara. Happy had gone from being left far behind in the dust to suddenly catching up like this. Even the more logical watchers among them felt that this was extremely exciting, and they wanted to see if the situation would become even more interesting. Would this be a 1v3? At last, it was time for those standing on Happy's side to hold this kind of hope. Zhou Zekai had completed a 1v3 against Happy, and now it was Tang Rou's turn to return that 1v3 to Samsara, a 1v3 that would decide the final outcome of the group arena. Was there anything more wonderful than this? 1v3. Happy's fans were already shouting in the stadium. This angered the Samsara fans even more, and their boos became louder. They hoped that the team would quickly wake up. Originally, it was their side's 1v3 that had created such a beautiful lead, and now their opponents were yelling about a 1v3. WuxaWorldAudio.com. How humiliating was that? Amidst the away fans' shouts of a 1v3 and the home fans' dissatisfied boos, Samsara's vice-captain Jiang Botao stood up. Under this pressure from both sides, he walked on stage. The boos suddenly quieted down, proving how popular Jiang Botao was in the hearts of Samsara fans. He'd been voted into the top 10 and even the top 5 All-Stars for the past 2 years, which absolutely required a large number of supporters. Samsara's fans were extremely upset with the situation, but the two players who'd put them in this situation had already lost and left the stage. Right now, it was their vice-captain stepping forward. So many Samsara's fans' hopes were once again lifted, and the booing quieted down. Even so, the amount of pressure that Jiang Botao felt wouldn't decrease at all. He knew very clearly that even though the booing sounds were quieter, that was because their final hopes were on his shoulders now. If he also could not give a satisfactory result, then the boos that he would suffer when he came off stage would surge even more than they had just earlier. This battle, he couldn't mess up. It wasn't just the mood of the fans, but the morale of their team as well. If they experienced this kind of blow, then they would be at a great disadvantage entering the team round. He had to figure out a way to stabilize the overall situation. Jiang Botao came on stage. His movements were neither too fast nor too slow. He walked over to report to the judge, and then entered his competitor booth. It was all carried out in an unhurried, orderly fashion. He was adjusting his own mood, letting himself be as calm as possible, not letting himself worry. Character loaded, map loaded. The 9th battle of the group arena, the deciding battle, began. Happy's Tang Rou, character Soft Mist, 73% health. Samsara's Jiang Botao, character Empty Waves, 100% health. Soft Mist charged forth. It was just like last battle, like last battle. Without thought, extremely decisive. This was Tang Ro's style. She had always been like this. But now, no one would think of Tang Ro as so simple ever again. In the battle that had just ended, despite being in an extraordinarily brave state, Du Ming had ended up losing in such a pathetic way, not by control, nor by technique, but by calculation. And these calculations had been done without any change to her normal behavior, so much so that before the situation happened, no one had realized. Those who would play against Tang Ro now knew to be more prepared. The pro players in the audience gave themselves a word of warning for potential future meetings with this best rookie. End chapter. The King's Avatar, Chapter 1670. A calm and unhurried opening. Audio source, WuxaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1670. A calm and unhurried opening. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Others were thinking of the future, but Jiang Botao had to face the present. The match began. Tang Ro's soft mist rushed out. As for Jiang Botao, his playing was the same as his walk to the stage, neither slow nor fast. His spellblade, empty waves, marched AEAD comfortably. The center of the map still had numerous holes left behind by chaotic cloudy mountain and moon-luring frost. At the start, everyone had been discussing whether Jiang Botao would be thrown into the holes as well. But when they saw Jiang Botao's unhurried pace, the discussion ended. With the difference in speed between Jiang Botao's empty waves and Tang Ro's soft mist, the two sides wouldn't be meeting in the center. But then again, Tang Ro could just wait at the center of the map for Jiang Botao to arrive. No. Not long after these guesses were made, soft mist continued right past the center of the map. As a result, the two met on the half of the map closer to Samsara's spawn point. Soft mist didn't stop and continued forward. This was how Tang Ro always played, but after seeing her performance today, it was hard not to give her playstyle another thought. As for Jiang Botao, would Jiang Botao think differently and play more carefully? No one knew. All they saw was his empty waves lift his sword. Earth Wave Slash. Spellblades had mid-ranged attacks, so it was common to see them attack first against close-ranged enemies. Earth Wave Slash was the Spellblade's lowest level Spellblade skill. Even though its damage wasn't high, it was quick and possessed high priority. Jiang Botao's opening move was nothing out of the ordinary. It was an opening that Spellblades use 80% of the time. Calm and unhurried. The battle had begun. Jiang Botao's performance could be described with these three words. Was this the playstyle he was going to use in today's match? Playstyle. When this word fell onto Jiang Botao, most people would furrow their brows in uncertainty. He was an all-star player, the vice-captain of a championship team. He had a stellar reputation in the pro circle and was very popular amongst the player base. However, no one could say what exactly his playstyle was. Even Samsara themselves weren't sure. When they first discovered Jiang Botao's talent in tactics and strategies, they had thought of elevating him to the level of a master tactician, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to shine bright enough and the matter was left inconclusive. Jiang Botao didn't have a distinct playstyle. But after a long time, people started to gradually realize that this was perhaps his true style. His ability to adapt was extraordinary. He could use any playstyle he wanted to battle. He was always the team's most sturdy pillar. This was why he was able to synergize perfectly with Josekai and Samsara. The glue, jack of all trades, timely rain, tinker. Jiang Botao had started in Season 6. It hadn't even been 5 years, and he had countless nicknames. From this, it could be seen how difficult it was to pinpoint his playstyle. But through these numerous nicknames, it was also able to show his strengths. There was one common aspect with all these nicknames. All of them described Jiang Botao through a team perspective. As for his individual prowess, even today, it seemed to be a difficult question. Everyone only knew that he was skilled, that he wasn't easy to deal with. Anyone who played against him had to be on guard. He could play aggressive. He could play dirty. He could play a mental battle. He could do what seemed to be illogical choices. But no matter what, you couldn't relax even a single moment. A single moment of carelessness could result in you losing. Jiang Botao made this ordinary opening move, making it hard to predict what he would do next because there were simply too many possibilities. This was precisely his aim. He wanted to create a situation filled with possibilities, so he could calmly observe Tang Rou and find a way to win. Even though Samsara need him to re-establish their morale, he couldn't act rashly. Because in his view, different opponents need to be played against differently, and Tang Rou definitely wasn't someone he could fight against with brute force. Jiang Botao was waiting for Tang Rou to act. That earth wave slash seemed to be bait for Tang Rou to attack. His sword had already come out. Next was to wait to see how Tang Rou would react. Even though he had seen a few peculiarities from Tang Rou's previous fight, he was pretty certain that Tang Rou would meet force with force. Jiang Botao guessed correctly. Soft Mist moved to the side a bit without wasting any movements, just barely dodging the earth wave slash. Then, she raised her spear, dancing fire flowing flames, and accelerated. Dragon breaks the ranks. Tang Rou went with her usual opening move, charging forward the instant she dodged the earth wave slash. Her timing was good, but all of it was within Jiang Botao's calculations. He had been ready for all of the possible reactions to his earth wave slash bait. Dragon breaks the ranks had been the most likely possibility, and Jiang Botao was on guard against it. Dodge. Empty waves roll to the side twice. Because just one roll wouldn't be enough. With Tang Rou's reaction speed, she would have enough time to change the direction of her dragon breaks the ranks to cover a target that only rolled once. Jiang Botao's deduction was correct once again. WuxRWorldAudio.com. As expected, as soon as Tang Rou saw him roll, she immediately adjusted. Soft Mist leaned to the side, altering the direction of the dragon breaks the ranks. Empty Waves noticed it and did the second roll. Dragon breaks the ranks had missed, and the instant Empty Waves got up from the roll, he swung his short sword, Divine Chains. Wave Wheel Slasher. A grab attack that broke through super armor. Even against the powerful dragon breaks the ranks, Wave Wheel Slasher out-prioritized it. The attack, the timing, the angle, all of it had been incomparably cunning. Would it hit though? Jiang Botao wondered. From his calculations, there was around a 50% chance he would fail. It depended on Tang Rou's condition this fight. Tang Rou's condition today was outstanding, but she had already gone through 2 fights. Perhaps she couldn't keep up her focus, or perhaps she was too excited, or perhaps she was thinking too much about making a comeback. Countless factors could decide whether she reacted fast enough. Would it hit? The sword light flew through the air. It missed. Soft Mist had cancelled the dragon breaks the ranks at the last moment, giving her time to leap to the side, dodging the wave wheel slasher. She dodged it. Jiang Botao was a bit regretful, but with how well Tang Rou was playing today, this outcome had been more likely. Jiang Botao wouldn't linger on this for too long because he had already thought that Tang Rou would likely counterattack the moment she dodged. What would she counterattack with? ... Dancing fire flowing flames whistled through the air, 2 streaks of red flickered. Oh, it's double stab. Empty Waves calmly raised his sword. Guard. End chapter.